What's up, guys? Welcome back to another edition of Inside MLP Podcast. Michelle McMahon, one of the voices of Major League Pickleball, and Tyson Apostle with you as always. Tyson, big week in the pickleball world, big weekend for you, I hear, this weekend. Exciting.
Yeah, it is exciting. I don't play tournaments very often, but I am going to Pittsburgh to play a tournament 4-0 with an older gentleman.
Okay.
And I'm there to have fun, but also to crush some souls. So if I can do both of those things, that's like a win. If I can do one of the two, it's pretty good.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So I'm going to be doing that. And you had a break this week, but you are back on
the road.
Back on the road, going to Salt Lake.
On another flight, going to Salt Lake City. Yep. Yeah. It's going to be a Wednesday through Saturday situation.
Okay.
So that'll be good.
Tournament of Champions.
Yep. Right? TOC. Yeah.
Okay. TOC. Yep. And that's like an OG tournament. That's been going on for years.
Yes. And at this venue for as long as I remember. I think the first time I covered this one was back in like 2019, I want to say, or 2020 maybe.
Yeah. Brigham City, right?
Yep. Yeah. Brigham City.
Okay. Very cool.
So if you have restaurant recommendations, let me know. Because
I think there's a famous one up there called Maddox that's like a hamburger or steak place, but I don't know if it's good. I just think it's like been there since like the 50s.
There's not a lot going on up there, if I remember correctly.
It's very quiet. Yeah, it's very quiet up there. A nice little farming community, I think.
Yes.
But it's fun. It'll be
beautiful.
It'll be fun to get up there in the mountains a little ways.
Yeah. And Catherine Parento's back in the mix.
Awesome.
And top 5 draft pick for us. And then Paris Todd is also in for Etta Wright, who was a late scratch.
Okay.
I don't know. Scratch is maybe not the right way to put that. Withdrawal from the tournament. Not sure what's going on with Etta. I hope she's okay. Obviously a local tournament for her, so that's kind of a bummer. And I think, I haven't talked to Megan Dazan yet, but I think this was the tournament she was hoping to come back for. Obviously a home tournament for her. We'll see. John's brothers not in, not because of the Colin Johns injury. They're just not participating. They had always planned on taking this one off. And then Dylan Frazier with Andre Dascu this week.
Okay.
That'll be an interesting partnership to look out for. So
yeah, I mean, both those guys have been winning. So think combined, they should also win, right?
And our guest this week, Hurricane Tyra Black, fresh off her gold medal performance, taking down Anna Leigh Waters, is now playing women's doubles with Anna Bright in Salt Lake City. So, well, Brigham City, I should say. So that's an interesting matchup if it ever comes to it. Catherine Parento, Paris Todd against Anna Bright and Hurricane Tyra Black this weekend. So intriguing matchups to watch. I'm excited. And Callie Jo Smith and Lucy Kovalova playing as well as they've been.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a fun one. I'm excited.
I am too. I'm going to be watching on stream and listening to your voice as you broadcast.
Haunting you.
Haunting me. It doesn't haunt me.
Every week. Yes.
It doesn't haunt me.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. Maybe other people, but not me.
We can't make everybody happy. That's for sure.
That's true. That is true.
The trolls are everywhere, I suppose. But so far, so good. I feel unscathed in the pickleball world. So good. Anyways, yeah. Well, amazing guest this week. Can't wait. Tyra Black, always a fun person to catch up with. And we got to get the scoop on the tea of what happened over the weekend and how her name has skyrocketed in the sport. So going to be a fun episode. But first, let's give a big thanks to our partners, as always, starting with Margaritaville, Michelob Ultra, Cirkul, Toyota Prius, Dulce, Vida, Tequila, Hospital for Special Surgery, Sunday Swagger, Fromouth Pickleball, and you can visit the MLP online store at fromouthpickleball.com to buy your MLP team gear. Don't want to miss out on that. And yeah, thanks so much for giving us the opportunity to do this every week. All right, Tyson, let's get to our incredible guest this week. She is one of 6 players to make the jump from challenger to premier level for season 2, fresh off a gold medal winning performance in Fountain Valley, California, including a marquee win, the biggest of her career so far, against Annalee Waters, former tennis professional, winning singles and doubles tournament on the ITF tour. And she has not been playing professional pickleball for very long. And already has skyrocketed to the top. She is Hurricane Tyra Black, and we're so happy to have you with us. Welcome. Thanks for joining us. How you feeling after the big gold medal performance?
I've been feeling good. I've been very busy since then, so I haven't got to play as much pickleball as I'd like. But I guess there's two sides to being a professional athlete.
Is that good or bad?
It's really good, but I love playing pickleball just all day long, and now I can't really do that as much. So,
Isn't that what happened to Anna Kournikova in tennis?
Yeah.
She got too popular to play, and then her tennis took a little hit. So just be careful there, okay? We want you in pickleball.
Looks like Anna Kournikova and could have that much attention, so I don't think that'll happen, but
Okay, wait, what's taken away from your time on court?
just like all the meetings and phone calls I have to have, and just like shoots and stuff like that, which is amazing. I love doing that, but everything came at once after that one match. It's a little difficult to manage everything by myself because I never had to do that before. But now I'm getting it under control.
Okay, so walk us through all the craziness that happened since then. So you beat Annalee Waters, which is very difficult to do. She does not lose in singles, especially. And then you go on to win gold. And then what happens? Like, how are hundreds of calls, photo shoots? Like, give us the rundown. Like the last 2 weeks, what's it been like?
So I had to fly back home that night. I actually had a
From Seattle to Florida. No, where was it? California to Florida. So coast to coast.
Yeah, so I flew from California. I was supposed to fly out at 10 a.m. on Sunday because I just really believe in myself, apparently. And I ended up moving my flight, and then it got delayed, and I'm at the airport, and everyone's texting me, and like my social media is like super blown up. People I haven't spoke to in years message me. People apparently that I knew when I was like 3 years old start texting me. They're like, "Oh, what's going on?" I think a lot of it was because of her reaction. So people that don't even know about pickleball are watching it and like messaging me about it and stuff like that. So it was just crazy. I did not sleep that night. I was super stressed about responding to everybody. I didn't want to be rude and ignore anyone. So like I had to go through all my messages multiple times on like all platforms. And I had to film like a documentary the next day here in Florida at like 8 a.m. I ended up arriving 3 minutes before the crew, thankfully.
Oh my gosh.
And then, yeah, it was just a lot of phone calls and meetings and people talking to me about sponsors and clothing and anything you could imagine they were writing me about. And I was like, I don't know how to do this. Speak to my agent. Like, thank you. But I can't do this.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so it was just a lot of that. And then I did a few photo shoots this week and like just where people were recording me, following me around all day at practices, fitness, whatever. And that's what it's been like.
That's cool. Thanks for carving out some time for us. I'm sure we were one of many requests to chat with you after big performance. So I know you've trained a little bit with Annalee Waters down in where you're based, and you also spend most of your time with Anna Bright, James Ignatowicz, those guys. What has the interaction been like since you've beaten Annalee? Has there been any interaction? Was there any interaction after the win? What happened?
So we warmed up together that morning, which I think is really funny. The draw actually changed quite a few times, I think, before we actually went on court that day. So I had no idea who I was going to play against. Me and my friend were just like, I guess we wait till they call us out. So we ended up warming up together. I warmed up with my friend Dominique too, who I ended up playing second round. And we were fine. Everything was chill. We're usually fine. Like, she's really nice. We get along. And then after that, like, she sent me a text like 2 days later or a day later or something. And then I also saw she tweeted something later. I thought it was like a joke or something. I didn't know if it was real or what was going on. And then, yeah, that was pretty much it. I haven't spoke to her at all. I don't know how fond she is of me right now. I think just because of the drama, not just because like I beat her or something, but you don't really want to be around someone after something like that happens. But her mom has been super nice. She like wished me luck and told me congrats after that match in the finals and everything. So I think we're fine. I hope.
Will you keep us updated? Okay. What did happen there? Because we saw that video, and was it just confusing? Was it like too much emotion? Like, did you ever figure out what? Because you looked as confused as we did when we watched it.
I felt like a little offended. I think I wasn't like as confused. At first, I was like, why would she say that to me? Like, so I wasn't saying come on the whole match. I was like, okay, I don't want to say come on and then like lose right now. That'd be really embarrassing. So I just held it until the end of the match and I yell, come on, and I turn around and she's like jumping up and down and like clapping. And I start to walk up towards the net. She's like, yeah, good job beating me, like really sarcastic and like clapping her hands. Thanks for beating me. And then she starts saying stuff. I couldn't hear her. And she's like walking away to her mom and like throws the paddle over at her and just like walks off the court with her hands in the air. And at first I was like, why would she do that? And I was like, okay, she's 16 years old. Like, I'm not going to take that to heart. So I was a little like, it was a weird situation.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot going on there, probably with emotion and being used to winning and then also trying to be gracious, but having everybody watch you. Tricky balance for sure, especially for a 16-year-old. I want to go back to almost your birth. You're one of the few. You're one of the few pickleball players that has a Wikipedia page. Not many pickleball players have a Wikipedia page. So I got on there and I'm looking at this thing to get some background. And I'm seeing that your father, also a tennis player, right? It seems like to me from reading Wikipedia that you, since you were born, were trained to be a tennis player. At 3, you were given the name Hurricane to actually help hype you in the sport.
Yeah, so the Wikipedia is a little bit off. They also mixed things up with me and my sister. So when I was born, they named me Hurricane. And then when my sister's 3 years older than me, and then when I was born, they gave her the nickname Tornado.
Oh, okay.
It's my actual middle name from birth.
Okay.
But yeah, my dad played tennis a little bit in juniors. He ran track and field, and now he's like a professional tennis coach. So I kind of strayed away from my path. But before I was even born, they planned to have 2 tennis players, me and my sister. So that's just what happened.
Well, how was that upbringing? Because I've seen the Tiger Woods documentary.
Yeah. It was... My parents got divorced really early on in my life. There's like a 20-year age difference between my parents. My dad's like only 47 or 48 now. And my mom is like, she just turned 70 a few days ago. Like there was a huge gap. I think they were just together because they really wanted tennis players. My dad was my oldest sister Nicole's tennis coach, actually, when she moved to Florida. So that's how my parents met.
Okay.
But yeah, the upbringing was fine.
How was it different than like like I go to public school, I ride the school bus every day. Was it like that for a time, or were you always like, was tennis always the center?
Tennis was always the center. I went to kindergarten and then I started homeschooling from there.
Okay.
Because my older sister Alicia started doing really well, really young in tennis. So it was tough. My dad had his academy to run, so he couldn't really like go back and forth every day with me at school. So I started homeschooling already. So my mom could travel with my sister. And then I was at the academy and there's tons of kids and all of them homeschool there. So I still got to be around other players and other people all the time and other kids. So it wasn't as lonely as some other athletes.
Okay.
But yeah.
Did you enjoy that? Like as a kid, like I am imagining like you either were like, I'm lucky, this is awesome, or I want to be with the regular kids riding the school bus.
I liked it better just because, well, there's 2 things. One, my dad's academy was right next to the Everglades, and I love animals.
Okay.
In between practice, I would just be like in the Everglades looking for anything I can find, from snakes to alligators, dogs, whatever's there. I rescued a lot of animals when I was younger, and I wanted to be a veterinarian. So that was like a good path for me, in my opinion. And then as I got older, I was like, this is so much cooler. Like, my friends that I knew that were in school were always like, they weren't very happy, and like school's super boring to be there all day long. And they didn't get to travel that much. And from a really young age, I got to travel the world, which was awesome. And also be around like new people and new cultures and everything. So it was tough at times, but I also really loved it. And I think I'm pretty lucky.
So when did it start to shift for you with tennis not becoming your favorite sport? Because I know you mentioned in your interview after winning gold that it was pickleball has been this resurrection for you. When did the tennis life start to shift into something that you weren't really enjoying?
Well, I never enjoyed tennis, to be quite honest.
Wait. So you trained your whole life to be a tennis player. You just told us how awesome it was to skip school to be tennis.
Playing tennis was awesome. Just like being around other people, not being in school, was awesome.
Oh, okay.
Like that's another, I kept playing for so long because I loved traveling and I loved being around these people, and it's kind of like the only thing I ever knew. So I just like kept playing. So yeah, but I did not enjoy playing tennis. When I was like 7 or 8, I quit tennis for like a year or 2 or something. My parents saw I was not having fun, and then I came back into it. I don't remember how I did, but I started playing again, and then I just kept playing until like 5 months ago.
Why didn't you ever like it? There was just no, was it the pressure? Was it just the expectation? The sport just never brought you joy? Like, what was it that you didn't?
This wasn't fun. It felt really lonely, like being on the court. The only thing I liked about tennis was playing doubles on the tour. And then like there's some games I loved to play when I was younger, which is called like 2-on-2 approach games, stuff like that. And it's all really similar to pickleball, which is the funny part. So that's why when I found pickleball, I was like, this is pretty similar to the only things that I loved in tennis. And that's kind of how I started to fall in love with it.
So talk us through that transition. You said you played tennis till about 5 months ago. How did that transition to pickleball happen? What was did you discover it? And then tell us all about that.
So sometime last year, like in the beginning of the year, my friend told me to play, and he's like, you're going to be really good. Just like try it. And I thought pickleball was so stupid, and I hated the sound of it. I was just going on other tennis players just complaining, like, why are they having this sport here, whatever.
Like the name or like the hitting of the ball sound?
The hitting of the ball.
Okay.
Because you could just hear it from absolutely anywhere. But now I think I've tuned it out. I was just in my house literally a few days ago, and someone's like, what's that like annoying noise? And I was like, oh my gosh, like there's people playing pickleball and I don't even notice it anymore at this point. But yeah, so I started playing some last year, but I was still traveling full time for tennis. And then I also had some injuries from tennis, so I couldn't really play that much pickleball, but I still wanted to play. And then this year around like February, there was a bad earthquake in Turkey, and I was there for some tennis tournaments, and the experience was just awful. And that's kind of when I realized I was like, I need to go home and do what I love, and it is definitely not tennis. And I came back and I started playing pickleball full time every single day. This is like 2 weeks before I play my first tournament. I get drafted for MLP, and then I go play Anna Leigh Waters in my first ever event.
How did that go?
That was an absolute disaster. My first opponent was, and I was so scared. I was like, I don't know how to play. Like, someone please needs to teach me the rules before I walk on court right now, especially singles. Like, I have never played a full game of singles before, and I was just freaking out with the cameras and everything. I could not make a ball in the court.
That's so funny. It's interesting to me that, well, in prior conversations, you've said that you actually the singles was the hardest portion of pickleball for you, which is fascinating because for tennis players, typically that's the easier side of the sport to transition into. So how have you been able to, I guess, segue your tennis skills into pickleball?
So me switching over wasn't like that tough for singles. I just did not enjoy playing singles. It was a lot like tennis to me on the court, and it gets pretty lonely out there. But yeah, even my ground strokes are really weird. I play with a continental grip, which I think some of the older players did a lot in pickleball. But now a lot of the other tennis players are coming in. They come in with their tennis grips. I did not do that. So my forehand and everything was a little bit wonky. So I was told I would not be very good at singles.
You're getting blown up. It's all your sponsors and agents chiming in.
Every time we hear a ding, that's another sponsor request.
I'm just trying to turn it off. It's actually my chat.
That's okay. We'll figure it out. It just adds to the mystique that is Hurricane Tyra Black.
Yeah. I was trying to turn on Do Not Disturb.
So when you left Turkey and you were like, you want to do something that you love, that was pickleball, I'm assuming, or were you like, I got to figure it out?
It was pickleball. When I was gone. So in about January, that's when I figured I didn't know what like MLP was and PPA and stuff like that. So my first tournament I watched was like Minnesota, and I was like, wow, this is pretty cool. So then when I was gone in Turkey, I obviously couldn't play. Me and my coach were joking. We're like, we should have brought our paddles with us and just played on the clay courts there or something. But yeah, so I got to watch a lot of pickleball there. I'm like, this looks like fun. This is where I want to be. And that's what I wanted to do.
So you come full circle. Your first tennis or your first pickleball professional tournament was against Anna Leigh Waters. I believe it was 11-0, 11-0. Is that correct? Yeah. Now, 2 weeks ago, you end up defeating Annalee Waters, the toughest and most celebrated women's singles player in the sport. Where do you go from here?
I was thinking about that a lot the last few days. I tried to get one of my friends into pickleball, and what he told me is pickleball would be too easy.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not just that it's like an easy sport to just switch over and automatically do well, but it's like there's not that many people in it, so you're automatically kind of a top player just when you start, especially for like girls. And I was like, no, you're crazy, like why would you say that? It's actually tough. And I mean, it is obviously, but it's like things happen so quick. Like I would never imagine I'm getting a gold medal. And in tennis, I didn't like to set goals because I'm like, if I don't make it, I'm going to be upset. And then if I do, I have to like do the whole process over. And now like I won a gold medal. So it's like, I don't know what I do. Like I beat the world number one. I got the gold medal. I aim for more, I guess, but I'm like, that's not as like crazy as like wanting to go for your first gold. You know what I mean? Like I doubt Serena feels the same way winning a new Grand Slam as she did when she won her first Grand Slam. You know what I mean? So
right.
It's been a little bit sad for me.
The thrill of the hunt of the gold medal is now diminished because you already have a gold medal?
Yeah, I was hunting for a doubles gold medal. I thought I'd lose like second round in singles, and I'm like, okay, let's focus on doubles, and I somehow got it in singles. Which I was definitely not expecting. I don't think anyone was. But it happened.
So you can still hunt for all those doubles gold medals though, right?
Yeah, so that's the only thing on my mind is those doubles ones, but it's still like, I already got that gold. It doesn't feel the same. But I'm like, I'm just going to keep enjoying and playing every single day and just not put too much pressure on myself for any of that.
And you have a partner lined up for, do you have partners lined up for the rest of 2023 into 2024? Like how far out are you and who are you playing with? I just have like a few girl spot open. And then for mixed, I'm full for the year. I don't know who I'm playing with. Wow. Okay.
I'm playing with Anna Bright this week. Then I'm playing with Lacey Schneeman, Jill Braverman. I have no idea who I have on my list. Like, I have an infinite amount of mixed partners this year. I have like a different one for almost every event. It's going to be fun.
That's super fun.
That is super fun. What, since you won that gold in singles, have you been getting a lot of requests to partner up? And how do you navigate that with probably already some commitment? Do you drop players that aren't maybe ranked as high for someone who's ranked higher? Or do you, like, how do you navigate that?
I mean, everyone I'm playing with is at a pretty decent level, so I don't think I'd really want to drop anyone. I want to just try and play as many tournaments with different partners as I can, which I'm kind of doing. I think the most I have with the same partners, like 2 this year. And then a lot of people start asking me for next year, mixed doubles especially. For next year, I'm supposed to put Leia in women's doubles, and then for mixed, a lot of people have been messaging me, which feels really nice because that's my favorite event. So that'll be fun trying to navigate that. I don't know who I'm going to speak to about it, but I need to figure that out soon.
That's so fun. And you mentioned on another podcast that, well, and you mentioned it here, that Major League Pickleball is your favorite event for many reasons. So let's get on over to that topic. Starting with last year, you came onto the scene in the challenger level, somewhat of an unknown entity to the broadcast crew and really the pickleball world. Brooklyn Aces drafted you, took a chance on you, as you said. What was that experience like, first and foremost, your first exposure to MLP, given your background? What was the, like, whoa moment for you?
I think when he called me for the first time, our GM, Samin, I was like, I had no idea what to say. I'm like, if I mess up, am I not going to get drafted? Like, what's going to happen? But I was really shocked that they did that. I was super happy about it because they've just kind of heard about me and I think saw like a few videos of me playing. I didn't really know what was going on, but I had like good hands and things like that, so you could see there was room for improvement, thankfully. But I was so happy when he called and said that I was going to be drafted. That's all I could look forward to. Even when I was at the PPAs, I was like, I'm focused on MLP, and that's like my main thing.
How did they find you?
So my friend who brought me into pickleball is like, he's good. Well, it's James Ignatowicz. And I think he knows some GMs pretty well. And I think he just sort of spoke to a lot of people about me, and they're like, okay, like, who's this new up and coming girl, whatever. And they had 2 pregnant players on the team, so I think they're really desperate for another player. And they ended up having to get a new player at the next event too. So thankfully, I think they were desperate and I was able to get in there. But we actually played pretty well when I went there, and I played Daytona PPA with Corinne. We actually played pretty well together. It was weird, like, playing with a partner for the first time at like an event, but we played pretty well, and I was pretty confident for Challenger. And then when we went to the tournament, we did well.
Yeah. So then season 2 rolls around, and you're one of 6 players that gets promoted from Challenger to Premier. Not only gets promoted, but you also get taken in the 3rd round for your team this season, which is Miami Pickleball Club, with Federico Staxrud, Tyson McGuffin, and Mary Brasha. What was draft day like for you? Because I know before that you were not even sure if you were going to get the promotion for sure to Premier level. So take us into draft day. What's your experience that day of getting drafted?
So a lot of people told me I was going to get drafted into Premier, which freaked me out even more. I was like, okay, everyone's saying it, but now if it doesn't happen, I'm going to be a little like sad. But I was like, I don't want to put pressure on. I was like, please stop saying that to me. Like, if I play Challenger Premier, I just want to play MLP. But I was at the airport and I had to buy Wi-Fi on the plane, and it wasn't really working. I was trying to listen to the draft, and I was like, oh my gosh, am I not going to get drafted? And it started to get to like the end of the 3rd round. I was like, because I think people took a lot of girls pretty early on. So I was like, how many more spots left? I was trying to calculate everything. I was like, what team could I possibly go on? Like, do these people like me? I don't even know. And I was just waiting for my bag, and I heard my name, and I start crying in the airport. It was so embarrassing. Someone's like, "Are you okay?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm all good."
I'm all good. I just got drafted.
Yeah. I just like sat down for like an hour or something and just like listened back and like made sure it was correct and like went on Twitter and everything, and I was so excited.
That's awesome.
Was it I mean, you made a pretty big jump from Challenger up into the third round of Premier. Was that at all surprising to you, or were you like, nailed it?
So, after we had our last event, people were already talking about me maybe going into Premier, but I was not sure if I was at that level yet or if I could do it. And then we played against Annalee and Catherine, me and Leia, and we played a really good match. And then I think some more people started talking about it, which was really nice. And then like closer to the event, like I started hearing from like players and like GMs and stuff that I might go in the third round. And I was like, I'm so excited, but I'm still scared I'm not going to get drafted. So I was freaking out still. I would like call my friends and talk about it for like hours. I'm like, well, like if this girl gets drafted first, like will she pick me? Or I didn't even know what was going on. I tried to think about every possible scenario and what would happen, and yeah.
What about the upcoming season? You're one of the players that's playing in almost, I mean, every event possible this season, it seems like. What would be the perfect balance for you in terms of schedule of events? Would it be 100% Major League Pickleball? Would it be a mix? Would it be every other weekend? What would your dream schedule look like?
I'm not sure, but a lot more MLPs, that's for sure.
How many? What would be the dream number for you?
I don't know. I wouldn't mind if like everything was MLP. I feel like that'd be really cool. But at the same time, like I just started, so it's nice mixing up my partners and everything. But like a year from now, I would definitely want to have like only MLP. But like right now, I'd say like one every 2 months or something would be really nice.
Okay, so one every 2 months. We're doing about that with 6 events.
Yeah, I just
bumping up to 8 next year.
Yeah.
Yes. That'd be
the more
nice.
the better.
Exactly.
So you find yourself on this new team, and what is the communication like? Like, is everybody on a text thread now? Are you planning to play some events with these players, practice, travel somewhere? Because not everybody's down in Florida. It looks like this team actually
most of this team is
a little bit all over the map.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
at least got fed on the other side of the state.
So I'm like 45 minutes to an hour from Miami. That is like an hour and a half from me, I think. I don't know where Tyson lives. Somewhere up north, I think.
Idaho.
Pretty far.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Up north is good enough.
I wasn't sure where he was from. I was thinking like Michigan or Chicago. And then Mary's from California, LA. So the LA flight should be pretty easy, but I don't know how tough it is to get here from Idaho. Yeah, we're all in the text thread, as you just heard a few minutes ago. We haven't really spoke that much, but we are planning to get to MLP very early and have a few practices at events before, so that'll be really good. And I planned to play an event with one of the guys, but I think it got canceled. So we'll probably have to figure that out and see, but we're definitely going to get a lot of practice in before.
Okay, well, what about other prep? Like, is there stuff you're doing individually? Like, are you watching tape or studying how these players are playing? Like, what all goes into prepping for MLP?
Yeah, so when I first got drafted, and I knew Tyson was on my team, I was like, this is a really energetic guy, and I have not watched him play enough. So I went straight away and started watching his mixed matches just in case I had to play with him. Because I kind of know Fed, and I've seen him play before. We've practiced together. but I didn't really know that much about Tyson. And then closer to the event, I'll start watching my partners and everything. I've watched some past MLP matches, but I've mostly watched like PPA and stuff like that to kind of get a feel of players, because everyone's with different partners in MLP, and that's not always their usual style of play, so it's tough sometimes. Yeah.
What do you make of your team in general? Like when you first figured out, okay, you're being drafted, and then looked at your teammates, what was your initial reaction to the complexity of this team?
I was like, wow, we are good singles players. I didn't know what to think. Sorry?
No, I was just gonna say, I think at one point you guys were all alive up until the semis in the last tournament. But continue. What were you?
Shoot, what was I gonna say?
Well, your first reaction was, "Wow, we're good at singles," and then
well, we're good. I don't really know how the draft really works. So in the draft for the beginning of the year, I didn't know much about MLP at that time, so I didn't get to see it or anything. So when they drafted two guys back to back, I didn't really see that yet in the other side that much, so I was a little confused. I was like, what are we gonna do for girls? Like, how does that work? But yeah, then when I was drafted, they kind of called me and asked me about a few girls and who I'd want to play with and stuff like that. So that was pretty relaxing and made me feel a bit more comfortable. And then for mixed, they're both amazing players, so I was like, we'll be okay. I was just worried about the other girl on our team and who it would be.
So let's go back to the draft a little bit here, because drafting two guys in a row is not like, I would say it's a little bit non-standard right now to do that. Did Miami Pickleball Club have you in mind, like from the get-go, and plan around that a little bit? Do you have any understanding of how you were picked up by them?
Yeah, so a few people were planning to take me, I think, at the end of the third. But one of the GMs that I was speaking to tried to like switch around some of the picks, and the other team said no. So that didn't end up working out, but I was super happy when Miami picked me, especially at the end of the third. But yeah, I didn't know what was going to happen whatsoever.
Okay. And then the Mary Brasha choice, what type of input did you have there?
So there was like a few girls. Some of them are good, but Mary's definitely a really steady player. And she's great overall, and I knew the chemistry would be pretty solid on the team versus some of the others. So I just gave some input and they made the final decision, and I think it was a really good choice.
Okay. Michelle, anything else before
Yeah, I was just going to ask how you manage the mental pressure, because as you know, I mean, you're an athlete in tennis, so it's nothing new for you pressure wise, but Major League Pickleball is a different animal with that. And with the team dynamic, you're not just playing for yourself. So it just makes sense that you would love this kind of structure. However, you're the first female pick on your team. So there comes a little bit of pressure with that. You now have the gold medal. You've beaten Anna Leigh. Like, you have all these things going for you. How do you now mentally manage the expectation and the pressure while still enjoying the sport that has brought a resurrection to your athletic career?
Yeah, so for Major League, when I was first playing, I was just super excited. I didn't feel any pressure. I've told a few people this before, but when I was in like Austin, I think, is the event right before MLP, I heard one of the top pros talking about how nervous they get for MLP. And I was like, oh my gosh, like if the top pro is nervous, like I should probably be nervous right now to go out there. So I was freaking out a little bit, but then like the day of, I felt completely fine. And I don't really feel a lot of pressure in those team environments, because like everyone's kind of supporting each other and you're able to just like relax, versus if I'm playing singles, especially in tennis, and I'm there alone, like that's when I start to really feel the pressure. There's nothing to kind of distract you from that. So Major League was super easy for me on that part.
Yeah. And then last thing for me, in terms of just your overall game, if you're consistently matching up with Annalee, whether it's singles or doubles, which area of your game will have made the biggest jump, do you think, if you're consistently in these battles a year from now, in terms of how you see your game?
I'm hoping my doubles game will get a lot better. I'm still learning a lot of things on the court. But yeah, hopefully my doubles and mix will get a lot better, and hopefully I'll have made the right decision for mix next year and do well. So hopefully that'll be the main part. I don't know how much singles I will continue playing, especially next year, but we'll see.
Well, we expect to see a lot of you, Tyra. Don't let us down. Before we close, should fans chant Hurricane or Tyra? Does it matter? Like, the whole stadium's chanting. What do you want them to chant?
I think Hurricane just sounds cooler.
I think so too.
A lot of people like it. So when they like bring out the signs and stuff, it's really cool like that. So I think it helps like bring the crowd in a little bit more. So I like that name, Hurricane.
Okay.
They've got to have like walkout songs, like the what is
Rocky
it?
Like a Hurricane.
Yeah, that one. That would be awesome. If your team makes the finals, just have them like blast it throughout the venue.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I like that. I'm already envisioning it. It's going to stadium's going to go berserk. Thank you so much for your time, and we wish you the best of luck. We'll be watching the streams and in person and cheering for you every step of the way. Congratulations on all your recent successes and to many more. Thank you so much all for listening to Inside Major League Pickleball. For all your Major League Pickleball news, you can go to majorleaguepickleball.net and catch up on all the news there. You can watch past events. You can do all of your tape studying on Tyra if you're someone else in Premier that needs to, get some advantages. And you can also follow Major League Pickleball on all major social medias. Until next week, paddle taps. Tyra, there you go. Yeah, paddle taps from all. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.